Sabah al-khair. In this video, we're going to talk about how to connect main and dependent verbs in formal Arabic using the particle an. An serves a function very similar to the English word to in sentences like I want to study literature or she likes to play chess, to separate the main verb from the dependent verb. And we often see the particle an after certain specific words in formal Arabic. Some of them are verbs like yurid, the formal Arabic verb for to want, or yastati', to be able to, or yuhib, to like to do something. So you'll often see an after those verbs. Bear in mind that an really isn't used very much in colloquial speech. There are different ways to connect dependent verbs in Egyptian and Levantine, and we have a separate video on how to construct those sentences in spoken registers. An is pretty unique to Al-Arabiya al-Fusha, to MSA, formal Arabic. So when we're forming a sentence using an, the verb that follows the particle needs to be conjugated for its subject in mudari'a mansub. Again, we have this chart with the formal Arabic verb yaf'al conjugated in the three sort of varieties of mudari'a that we encounter. Al-mansub is actually referred to in some textbooks describing Arabic as the subjunctive version of a verb, because it is often used in structures like this that express possibility or actions that haven't yet occurred, things like that. Once again, yaf'al, we can apply this template of mansub and the endings of al-mudari' al-mansub to any other verb that we like. So let's take a look at some examples. If we want to say, for example, they want to eat at the restaurant, we could render that yuridun an ya'kulu fi al-mat'am. So after an, we need to use our mansub form of that conjugated verb. Another example, we can read in Arabic. We could say nastati' an naqra' بالعربية. And after an naqra', we're going to need that fatha if we're fully vocalizing our text to indicate that we're using al-mudari' al-mansub. Nastati', if we wanted to fully vocalize it, since no conditions have arisen in our sentence yet that require changing the mood of the verb in any way, we would go ahead and use our default form, al-mudari' al-marfu'. So, for the sake of being complete, we could put a dhamma above it. When yuriduna, we could add our fatha there, right? And we have our whole marfu'a form with the nun. One more example, we could say he refused to go to school. Rafada, he refused. An yadhhab, or an yadhhaba ila al-madrasa. Here we're talking about an action that took place in the past, and we see that because of our conjugated past tense verb. But after an, we always need a verb conjugated in al-mudari' al-mansub, in that sort of present tense form. It's sort of equivalent, again, if we say in English, he refused to go to school, right? The to go is kind of a fixed form. And literally what we are saying here is he refused to, he goes to the school. we need to conjugate it in the present tense. You'll also notice that we can express these same ideas a lot of the time with a masdar, that verbal noun form. We have a couple videos on the masdar. If we wanted, we could, instead of using an and a conjugated verb in mudari' mansub, we could render it as a masdar form. We could say رفض الذهاب إلى المدرسة. Literally, he refused the going to school, right? But if we want to use an, and a conjugated verb needs to be mansub, and that is how we connect main and dependent verbs in formal Arabic.